On the day of the baptism of the Lord, a celebration of the Jordan River banks recalled the beginning of Jesus' public ministry. The visit of the bishops of the Holy Land Coordination to the Israeli and Palestinian Christian communities, a sign of closeness and solidarity by the Church around the world. Vandalism in the cemetery of the Salesian monastery not far from West Jerusalem. Words from the director: "We ask for prayers for forgiveness and reconciliation." The representatives of the private schools got together with the authorities of all the churches and the School of St. Joseph of the Apparition in Nazareth in order to prepare for the 2016 school year, which is dedicated to the environment, inspired by the encyclical Laudato Si of Pope Francis. The orchestra of the Edward Said Palestinian National Conservatory, in collaboration with the Swiss Choir, performed in a joint concert in the Church of the Augusta Victoria Hospital in Jerusalem.
Nearly 400 meters below sea level, the Jordan River near the Dead Sea is the setting of important biblical events. Here, the people of God crossed over with the Ark of the Covenant without getting their feet wet on their way to the Promised Land. And here the prophet Elijah ascended into heaven in a chariot of fire. This was also the place where Jesus was baptized by John, the important event that marks the beginning of Jesus' public ministry.
Gesù, con il suo gesto del battesimo,
Jesus' baptism demonstrates his humility, divine humility that comes to deliver dignity to fallen human beings, humility that first reveals the way of penance and then gives new life.
prima la via della penitenza e poi donargli la vita nuova.
The Franciscans, the faithful from the parishes and the different groups of pilgrims arrived early in the morning by bus and by car. Within a short distance of the site, they walked in procession to the place of baptism, called Kasra al-Yahud, singing songs and carrying church banners.
Hosanna, Hosanna, Filio David.
During the celebration of Mass, 2 girls received the sacrament of baptism. The names of the new Arab Christians are a tribute to the Palestinian saints Mary Alphonsine and Maryam Bawardi.
We are part of the Palestinian society and we are part of the Christian society. That's why we choose the same day of Jesus' baptism. So hopefully everything will be right with her life and on the front.
The celebration commemorates Christ's act of humility by which he wished to teach the path of conversion to the people of that time and the people of today. It's not just a matter of a moment, it's a matter of life. Today, then, we again have the opportunity to renew our commitment as Christians, as children of God, of people who belong to God. The way to the baptismal site was a road surrounded by minefields, and being under the control of Israel, it was accessible only to those with special permits. Christians used to celebrate the baptism of Jesus in October. Then, after being closed for decades, the place was reopened to the public in 2012. As a result of the opening in 2012, the celebration of the Lord's baptism in the Jordan River is held on the same day as the baptism celebrated by the Church, according to the liturgical calendar. On the river banks, many come to experience the grace of this place, to touch the water and even take some home.
For us, it's a very important experience. It's our first time here, and it's very significant. And well, I think that for every Christian it's important to come here.
If you're a Christian who you worship God and everything and you read the Bible, you know that this place is sacred and you should visit it at least one time in a lifetime.
The river that separates Jordan from Israel carries the message of conversion. Here Jesus showed that for there to be a profound Christian life, one needs to plunge into this water in search of a heart as pure as that of a child. I immersed my hands in the river. It was a good feeling because I felt honored to be able to touch a sacred place in which Jesus Christ once immersed himself.
Donde entró Jesucristo.
You Are Not Forgotten reads the final public statement of the Holy Land Coordination. This group, formed in 1998 upon invitation of the Holy See, is composed of bishops from Europe, North Africa, and South Africa, who every year, in the month of January, travel to the Holy Land to meet and support the local Christian community and to show solidarity with the Church. Simple gestures that reiterate the promise given by the prophet Isaiah. Even if these things were to forget, I shall not forget you.
Sometimes we think that if we can't do big things to change the situation, we do nothing. But in fact, every small gesture, every small activity also contributes to the wave of resistance against what is wrong. And so I think there's a need to come on these visits because we are able to support the people who are suffering and able to help lift their spirits and to help them to think through, because we've had similar experiences, to help them to know that they're not alone and that we continue on the outside also supporting them in solidarity around the world.
I've been coming to the Holy Land for 4 years now, and I think one of the important reasons for my coming is to express my solidarity, especially with those people who often feel very forgotten in life and who are really living under unjust conditions, where there is very little freedom for them to move around. And I think it's important that we are seen to belong to the same human race and to help people to live with human respect and dignity.
The first leg of the trip was Gaza, the stripped town plagued by numerous wars. The last war was in 2014. The two-day journey for the coordination was introduced with a Eucharistic celebration in the parish of the Holy Family, the same church where the Holy Door was opened at the end of December 2015. This church is the only reference point for the 2,000 Christians and the 200 Catholics who live in the area.
Alors je pense que Gaza est probablement la partie la plus importante.
I think the 2 days in Gaza are the most important phase of this visit, especially during this year of mercy and compassion. If there is one place in the world where people suffer or have suffered a lot and continue in the same struggle, it is absolutely important for us, the Church, to be there for them with mercy, compassion, and solidarity. We cannot change much about their situation, but at least we can let them feel they are important as human beings. I think that is why we came here.
Sens qu'ils sont des personnes humaines qui ont de la valeur. Alors, c'est un peu ça, je pense, le pourquoi.
The hardships and wounds of the population are undeniable. The Christian community of Beit Jala faces the confiscation of their lands and olive groves in the valley of Kermisan by the army. Jordan tries hard to assist large groups of Syrian and Iraqi refugees who represent almost a quarter of its population. Taipei, the ancient Ephraim of the Gospel, now a small country almost entirely Christian, is fighting against unemployment and emigration. However, while looking closely at the reality and meeting the people who inhabit the area, we surprisingly find a few signs of hope and reconstruction, such as the schools in Gaza run by the Sisters of the Rosary, but mostly attended by young Muslims, or the home for the elderly run by the Brazilian religious community Sons of Mary in Taipei, or in the same country, the brewery, the only one in Palestine, a company that employs many locals, or the testimony of faith given by the refugees who fled to Jordan. This evening, during the last meeting, the Chaldean Iraqi refugees said, "We lost everything, but we have not lost our faith, and we may have lost everything because we wanted to keep our faith. This is a slap in the face to us, believers of the Western world, who often leave the faith aside to deal with so many other things."
Vandalism, Christian cemetery desecrated, stone crosses of various ancient tombs toppled. The vandalism took place in the Salesian monastery of Beit GEMAL, located about 30 kilometers from Jerusalem, near the Israeli town of Beit Shemesh.
Ci siamo accorti
2 days before Christmas, in this ancient cemetery,
giorni prima di Natale che 6 croci in questo
we noticed that 6 crosses had been forcibly overturned on the ground
del periodo in cui i primi salesiani hanno incominciato erano
and
state
then broken at the base.
con la forza rovesciate a terra, quindi rotte alla base.
It's not the first time. The first act of vandalism dates back to September the 27th, 1981, when more than 30 wooden crosses in the cemetery were burnt and destroyed by unknown assailants. 8 years ago, a bomb was planted under a tractor, and 2 years ago, the walls of the building inhabited by the sisters were defaced by blasphemous graffiti written in Hebrew.
Per il testo di questi ultimi giorni, ecco,
After the events of the last few days, all we want to do is invite people to prayer of reparation and forgiveness, as we learn from the saints whose places we preserve.
poi, ecco, teniamo e
Our first martyr Stephen and the venerable Simon Strugi.
nostro Stefano protomartire e il venerabile Simone Strugi.
During the 125 years of their presence in Beit GEMAL, the Salesians have offered many different services to their community, but for some years they have rediscovered a special charism in meeting with Israelis. Every Saturday, hundreds come to admire paintings and mosaics and visit the church, where the relics of the first tomb of St. Stephen were found. Father Ilario Martinelli, director of the Salesian house, wants to preserve the peaceful coexistence that has grown and flourished over the years.
La nostra relazione con gli israeliani che non è
Our relationship with Israel is not temporary. Usually those who come to see us come back and always speak of this as a place of peace, a peaceful place.
e parlano sempre di un luogo di pace, di un luogo pacifico, quasi
They come here to take a deep breath, an interval of serenity and profound joy.
serenità della gioia che trovano qui.
The Laudato Si journey was held in the auditorium of the School of St. Joseph of the Apparition in Nazareth, with the aim of discussing the environment encyclical of Pope Francis, which will be included in the school curriculum next year. Representatives of private schools and various people involved in education took part in this journey. After the publication of Pope Francis's encyclical in May 2015, I learnt that the school programs in Galilee have much in common with the contents of the papal encyclical, particularly on the call to protect our common home.
أصدر قداسة البابا فرانسيس رسالة رعوية جميلة جدا.
Following the beautiful pastoral letter of Pope Francis, Laudato Si, praise be to you, focused on the care of our common home and on the protection of creation, the private schools in our country have decided to dedicate next year to nature conservation.
في بلادنا فكرت أن تخصص سنة حول المحافظة على الطبيعة مسبحا أيضا لخليقة.
Praise to God the Creator, and also praise to the creatures who glorify God. For man is, indeed, regarded as the guardian of nature in this beautiful encyclical.
حارس الطبيعة.
The event was attended by Monsignor Marcuzzo and Bishop Bakuni, by the mayor and also by the Muslim, Christian and Druze religious authorities, in addition to the teaching staff and directors of private schools in Nazareth and the surrounding area. This program is a wonderful invitation, in the wake of the title of the Pope's letter Laudato Si. In fact, it is important for men to live on this earth according to the will of God. Participants reiterated that nature belongs to everyone, and therefore we all must respect it. We all have to behave responsibly when it comes to nature, avoiding and preventing its destruction.
Palestine and Switzerland together in the musical staff. The orchestra of the Edward Said Palestinian National Conservatory, in collaboration with the Swiss choir, performed in a joint concert in the Church of the Augusta Victoria Hospital in Jerusalem. The chosen repertoire proposed a selection of songs written by the great composer Johannes Sebastian Bach during the Christmas season of 1734. This is the first time we work together with this choir from Bern, Switzerland. It was hard work. It took 4 days for us to get prepared for this concert. We had to review all the music sheets and notes. However, it is a collaboration that led to an excellent result. The music work that we performed related to Christmas was written by the German composer Johannes Bach. We presented this work in 3 different cities. First in Bethlehem, then Beer-Zait, and finally in Jerusalem. The Evening of Music is the result of a musical collaboration that surpasses geographical boundaries. Palestinian and Swiss musicians joined efforts, and despite the diversity of language, the artists experienced and communicated exceptional harmony to the audience, performing Bach's music in a perfect and magnificent way.
Dieter Wagner, who is the conductor today, it was his brainchild. It was his dream, as he said, to come here to Palestine and sing the Christmas oratorio, because the setting for the Christmas oratorio is in Palestine. And it's a very famous piece, which talks of the Nativity. And so it's very meaningful for all of us to do this here.
The concert was not just a show of musicians. The audience participated and interacted with the artists on the notes of Bach's music, showing their deep appreciation for the joint effort that donated expressiveness in music, still alive after more than 200 years. I have been playing the violin for 11 years, since I was 5 years old.
There was a great harmony among the choir, the orchestra and the soloists. I really enjoyed it all, as well as the master of the choir and the soloist.
The orchestra, made up by the students and their professors, is led by the musician and singer Dieter Wagner, with the participation of soprano Miriam Tamari and bass Martin Snell. During the evening, the artists performed both classical Western music and Arabic music, presenting a unique artist work which allowed the audience to experience Christmas again. Terra Santa News is a production of the Christian Media Center in Jerusalem, Holy Land. For more information about Terra Santa News and the Christian Media Center, please check out our website at the bottom of the screen. You'll also be able to subscribe to our newsletter, to view live video feeds from the Holy Land, as well as visit our Facebook and YouTube pages and follow our Twitter feed. Come visit the website of Terra Santa News.